This is Fam Electric Ghost, and we're live on the air with Dr. Charles Thomas Jr. for the first time. Welcome to the Fam Electric Ghost podcast. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, fan. Appreciate you having me, man.
Want to let people know this is the first time we're talking to you, and we're going to talk about your book, and we'll talk about your you have a couple books. We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll mention all of them, but we have a link to Forged Fire.
Yep,
And
so fire.
we'll actually talk about that. But right now, we have a QR code out there for people who don't know about how you get podcast guests for your show. Click that. You can find out about opportunities with Podmatch, and you can check that out. So you scan that QR code, you can learn about Podmatch affiliate opportunities, and it's a really good tool for linking podcasters with guests. So other than that, we like to talk to everybody on the show that comes on the show as a guest. We asked him a couple questions before we get to the heart of your story. Like, what motivates you, and why do you do what you do?
Well, first of all, again, thanks for having me on the show, fan. I mean, it's pretty cool to stay to talk with you after listening to some of the shows and all of that. But when you ask the question, what motivates me, you know, as a kid, man, mom would always say, and my grandmother would say, "Don't die with the story inside of you." Right. Mm-hmm. So it's this internal motivation, I think, to whatever giftedness you have, share with the world. Right. And in reality, I don't want to meet potential me when I die. Mm-hmm. Right. Like, I don't want to sit there and meet this guy, and as I'm crossing into the pearly gates, and say, "Well, who is that?" And it's like, "That's who you could have been."
Yeah.
I don't want that at all. Right. So for me, there becomes a part of, you do the best you can and you leave everything on the court, so to speak, while you're here. So that's the motivation for me, man. It's just to have a life well lived, enjoy it, you know, do the best you can by people, help them how you can, you know, stay out of the way, stay out of trouble, that type of thing. So it's not a fanciness, man. It's just an internal fire to tap in and be all right. So that's how I feel, and that energy is what keeps me going regularly.
Yeah, so you're a number one best-selling author. You're an entrepreneur. You're a storyteller, yeah. And so we got the link for your Forged
from Fire.
Yeah, Forged from Fire album. I mean, book. And that so as an author, like you said, yeah, like you gave yourself permission. Like, this is the thing I find with a lot of people that have a hard time becoming creators, is they don't give themselves the permission to actually have their vision kind of get actualize and put it into the world. They're so like, well, I'm not Mark Twain, I'm not Shakespeare, I'm not any of the famous Ralph Ellison, I'm not W.B. Du Bois, so they can't do it. Like they feel like I can't match the canon, so they they feel their voice doesn't matter. But you gave yourself a permission structure, or you had a permission structure that made you feel like you could do it.
Yeah, man, I gave myself permission. Well, my mom gave me permission first, and my dad, right, to go through the process and just give it a shot. Right. We were always taught, if you're going to play. Right. It's not a comparison, man. And I think what you just said is really interesting. We see people go through all of these comparisons that say, well, this person did this, so I can't match that. I can't match this. I can't match that. When in reality, for me, I was like, well, when you have this mandate to not die with the story inside of you, you have to do it, right? Just like you're a musician, right? So as the things start coming to you, you are now mandated to push that thing out to the world. Whether or not it sells one copy or a billion copies is inconsequential. It's inconsequential to me. It's more of a function of, did you A, have the courage to try? B, were you true to yourself when you did the thing? And 3, did you release it? Right. Because the releasing it, to me, to the world, is the win. Because so many people have so much stuff that they've written, songs, books, whatever, poems, whatever it is that they're doing, and it's just sitting on the computer. It's sitting on a little notepad somewhere, and they've never released this thing to the world. And it's like, well, why not? Who cares? Nobody's coming to your funeral anyway when you die. So what difference does it make if it succeeds or if it fails? Right. So the releasing part, to me, that third step I'm talking about, is the part where I think where the actual win happens, and all of the other stuff is just gravy on top of that.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing about being an artist, is like, you have to know like what you put out into the ether. And a lot of times it's like that comparison trap. You have these limiting beliefs. You won't do it because It's like when you're a kid in school and you're scared to raise your hand in that classroom because you're
Yeah.
scared what all the other kids are going to find out that I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. That I'm a half stepper. I'm not there,
But they don't know either.
yeah, they don't know either, but they're so scared
Right.
of like
Right.
embarrassing yourself, right? It's like when you're a
Right.
kid and like you go to ride that bike.
Right.
Hey, when you're very young, you don't care you're going to scrape your knee. You want to learn to ride the bike. As you
Mhm.
get older, if you start falling down in front of your friends, like you're
Right.
probably not going to do it, right? Like if you know that you can't do it, you probably won't even try it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Because like I feel like when you say like on that note, like I feel like people create these characters and they want this character to come across as being perfect. And the fact of the matter is, every time you create something musical, you're trying. You're figuring out like, does the melody work with this? Like boom, does the hook flow? Is the chorus right? You're doing all the thing. It's the same thing. Like I don't like the term grind when people are like, yo, man, I'm out here grinding.
Uh-huh.
Because every time you grind something down, it just crushes you. I
Wreck
like to look at us, it wrecks you. Like I like to look at people like us as sculptors, right?
Yeah.
You get this clay every day, you boom, 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 boom. 12 years later, now all of a sudden you've created the Vitruvian man, right? You create this stuff, but it's the consistency, the discipline, the focus, the patience to do a little bit every day and do it because you know you have the talent to do it. You know you have the giftedness to do it. Because most people know what they can do well. They're just scared, right? Because you comparing yourself to Michael Jordan. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like you
Come
never
on,
even
bro.
play. I mean, you got to have a whole team. That everybody's going to be Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
And like, in order, like everybody has a role to play. It's like
no doubt.
it's just the big problem I think with a lot of folks is it's like the happy accident, the perfection trap. Like
Yeah, no
in
doubt.
being an artist, being a musician, it's like
Yeah,
we have like thousands of things on the cutting room floor, right? And then what we
yeah,
actually put out is like a 1/10 of our output. Right? You think about Prince. Prince left the
yeah,
world. He's got like 10,000 tracks never heard. But
yeah.
that just shows
Like
the
he does
level of his craft. Like what he
for
chose to
sure.
put out, right?
Yeah,
Was
and
still
what
a
you
massive amount.
no doubt. And what you said about craft too, like there's this part about me. You said what motivates me. It's like to be of service to your craft. If you're a writer, write. If you're an artist, do art. If you sing, you sing. If you play sports, play sports. Right. But be of service to that thing. Cause it's a whole bunch of people that I want to be a multimillionaire, but they don't have multimillionaire work ethic. I want to be the best player on the court, but they don't want to go to the gym and shoot 1,000 shots a day. Right. So people like to talk a
Yeah,
lot because it sounds good. Right. It
mhm.
sounds cool
Performative,
when
yeah.
it, huh?
Performative. Like people just like to put on airs, you know?
Yeah. We'll get to the thing, and it's not to knock anybody's hustle, but for me, it's an element of I am who I say I am, not by words, but by actions,
Yeah,
right?
do it.
So
You gotta
I'm gonna
show up.
go and yeah, I'm gonna go ride my bike. I'm gonna put in effort. Like I'm never gonna go into anything unprepared. Now, no, people can say what they want to say, like, oh, he didn't have a lot of energy today or that, but I'm never unprepared. It's
Mhm.
just not a thing, right? There's a part of me that says somebody is always competing to take a thing, and I'm always competing to get a thing,
Yeah.
right? So no, so I don't, there is my only distinguishing quality is discipline, right? I'm not the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, but I am very disciplined. And I think the people that I like to learn about their stories, they're very disciplined. Like anybody I think of, from Kobe Bryant to Tom Brady to Muhammad Ali to President Obama to uh, Steve Jobs, pick a human,
Yeah.
right? Like all of these people, Marlon Roycer, a cyclist, Maya Moore, all of these people that are phenomenal at their craft, they get to it every single day. It's no excuses. They just discipline themselves.
Well, you gotta show up. I mean, half of doing the
Right.
job is showing up. It's
Yeah.
putting like the 10,000 hours, 20,000 to become a master. I mean, musicians
Yeah.
and artists, right? You put the paper, your pen to the paper, put your
Yeah. No
hands on
doubt.
the keys, right? It's the reason you stay relevant is because you continue to dive into your craft,
Right.
and like And the people who are in the, like, you think about Miles Davis. Miles Davis was the
Mhm.
king of bebop, right?
Yeah, yeah,
He is the
yeah.
standard bearer. He's the head of the canon. He is the canon.
Right, right.
Then he decided to go into fusion. People are like, what? Say, but
Uh-huh.
when you're a master, you can
Right,
change the game.
right, for
You can
sure.
say it's like
Yeah,
I'm tired of that. Herbie Hancock is like, oh, I'm playing with Miles. Now I'm gonna go and do my own thing, right?
right,
So
right.
once you get to a certain level,
Yep.
it's kind of your artistic responsibility to push it, right? To not
Yeah,
to stay on your just stay in the same zone. You try to push it and go out of your zone.
yeah, 100% agree, man. I haven't heard it like that. Or you said it's your artistic what?
It's just
You
there's
said
artistic development. It's like I think
yeah,
it's. I mean, it's like you think there's the idea of the canon, like the canon, like Shakespeare is the canon of the literary world.
right. No, what you were saying it's like you're artistically mandated to push the envelope. Right.
Yeah,
When I look at all of the people in business or the people in academia or sports or in the
same thing.
creative space, once you hit a certain level, then you say, okay, if you did this, I'm already operating in my area of giftedness. How do you do that? So when I look at some of these people that are playing these games, like you said, they're never complacent. They never get to a point where they're like, I'm cool.
I'm
They're going
done.
to try something new. I'm going to keep going, going, going. Because why not? Right. If you have the ability to, why not? So talent does, and I truly believe this, man. And me and bro, my moms, we used to talk about this a lot. Talent and giftedness doesn't care who uses it. Ideas don't care who uses it. They just want to be used. Right.
Mm,
If you come up with the song and a beat and a melody and you move and whatever, and you decide not to put it out, that same idea is going to pop into somebody else's head at some point, and
yeah,
they're going to do that
you
thing.
gotta run with
Right. Because yeah, the idea, the talent, the gifts, they just want to be used. If I'm not going to use it, somebody will. So why not give it a shot? Right. That's how I look at the life journey. And it doesn't always mean you're going to be the best, like at
it.
all. But
Yeah,
I
I mean,
do
you
what
fail
I do.
upwards. I mean, and I'm in IT, right? My day
Yeah.
job, I'm software design.
Yeah.
And software design, we have this idea of failing upward,
Uh-huh.
where like every day we do iterative development.
For sure.
Tons of our stuff is just like an artist. There's stuff on the cutting room floor, stuff that didn't work. But we
No doubt.
don't look at it as a failure. All the
Mhm.
stuff that didn't work gets fed into other projects.
Yeah.
And
It's
maybe it
iterative.
didn't work
It's
today,
iterative.
but it works tomorrow. Right.
Oh, yeah,
So
no doubt.
there's like so everything we do, even though it didn't work today, like there's an opportunity for that to fit somewhere else. And so we don't think of it as like why we call it failing upward.
Mhm.
Because like in engineering, like how many versions of something do you build to get that
Until
suspension?
it's ready to go. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, you build tons of
Yeah.
iterations. I mean, I've talked to engineers all the time, and they run through iterative development, testing, failure testing, the testing longevity is like stuff that, yeah, that was a great idea until like, oh, after the thousands test, it breaks. So there's
Right.
something wrong, right? So
Right.
you learn from that. You don't say, well, it's all over. No, you
For
like
sure.
that's how you learn.
It's an input into the next thing, and ultimately the next thing is the thing you deploy to the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
it's
have to
it's
be willing to put it out there.
100%. But it's amazing to me, Phantom, when you were talking about that, right before we got on, like, how the world has created such anxiety in people who have a fear of releasing the work.
Hmm.
Just release the work, right? Because you will see, like, I can even tell in like my own journey, man, from my very first book to the one that's now and the ones that'll come in the future, you start to find yourself the more you do. And me and bro talk about this all the time. Me and my sister talk about this all the time too. You learn who you are by doing.
Yeah.
So when
Agreed.
I say I am who I say I am, I can only say that Cartesian philosophy says I think, therefore I am. I've modified that to say I do, therefore I am.
Hmm.
Right. So like I've learned who I am as a human by doing, like you said, failing upwards. And then if you're going to fail fast. Don't spend too much time doing a whole bunch of nonsense, right? Cut out a bunch of stuff, lock in, get to it. So I think the releasing of the work is really cool, man. That creative process of sitting down and taking this blank slate that you see from anybody. I don't care if they're at the top or if they're not. It's the fact that you are able to create something and push it out to the world, whether or not they listen to it or not. You're not going to die with it inside of you, right? That's
Yeah.
the part about creatives that I think is so cool. Like, we don't have Star Wars if the writers don't write it. We don't know who Jar Jar Binks and Chewbacca are, right? We don't have, if Shonda Rhimes doesn't do what Shonda Rhimes does,
it doesn't happen.
We miss out. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. So if everybody's scared and anxious of like, oh, I'm gonna mess up, man, you may sell one book may sell 1 billion copies, the next book may sell 2. So what? Keep writing.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole effort is like wherever you are, like in the universe, I always think about like, things are in like in tune. Like people where there's harmony and like when you feel a bad vibe, you feel good vibes, right?
Yeah,
So
no doubt.
so a lot of times like artists will sometimes be on the outer edges of what people call a bell curve, right? So what happens, like a lot of people are just in the middle.
Right.
They just want to do their 9 to 5, show up every day. They don't want to push it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And then like the people who are artistic or creators, they're on the outer edges. Like sometimes they just get the bang, it's out the park. Other times it's like people see it and they say, what the heck is that? Right. And they're like, and the thing is, you have to have a thick skin. Now you think about like Hendrix. Hendrix showed up in the world, and the things he was doing on guitar is like feedback. Some of his artistic, even today, the guitarists can't control the feedback like he did. And technically, when he was in the studio, I read all these books about him. They were engineers telling him his sounds were not correct, that you can't put that on tape. And he pushed back and said, that's going on tape. Right. And that shows you like the creative mind that says, I don't care what you learned at Berkeley, telling you can't put that on tape. Yeah. It's going on tape.
Yeah. And I'm gonna and yeah, we're doing it right now and I'm showing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that because a lot of people won't do it.
Because what you see is a lot of times and we talked about dream killers in the past, or people when a person says they're trying to do something, oftentimes they'll get negative feedback from a person who can't see what they see, or they're putting their limiting beliefs on that human. You know what I mean? And I think it's crazy. We live in a world where when you think back, going back to the Renaissance years, right? Everybody was doing that. They were getting after it. They were reading, studying, learning about everything that was important to them. And they were constantly releasing these things to the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's they're all pushing.
Yeah. All of the artists, right? You from the Da Vinci's all the way through. And then you think of, some of my favorites, and from the writing standpoint, like, or the intellectual component, like the Dr. W.B. Du Bois of the world.
Du Bois,
right? Or you think about Dr. Cornel West now, and all of these people, they've iterated, like you said, and they've all failed upward, because the more you practice a thing, the more you start to be like, oh, here's what I'm good at within this space. Right? Like I remember when I first used to give talks, man, I used to always try to use the fancy college words because I wanted people to think I was smart, right? And yeah, like, and though I can use those words if I want to, like what I found is that it oftentimes didn't come across as relatable. It came across as scripted, contrived, right? Where now it's just like, yo, man, we're going to have a conversation. If you say a big word, it's just because it's just how it came, but it's not planned, right? You're not trying to sound a certain type of way. If you
showing off. Yeah. Right. That's the problem. Like, are you accessible? Like you think about a guy like James Baldwin.
Yes, for sure.
Super intelligent, but he's like a poet. He would say the 100%. Truth, but it would come across in a way it's like, wow, that's really hitting. It does.
And it hits hard.
It's hard. Like, Malcolm X, you see Malcolm X speak. Let's watch a video of Malcolm X speech. It's like, damn. He's connecting. Like, just like the way Dr. King. I mean, they both are connecting. Because they know,
and even though they do it even if they do it in different ways, like the process of them being almost like this conductor of an orchestra, man, is really cool, because you know that they are committed to their craft, and you function a lot on social media. You've been doing these podcasts forever, and you see the creative mindset come through, and though each of us does it differently, those who actually try and put the things out, like, it was really cool to me too, is when you look at somebody's Instagram page or TikTok page and you go all the way back to the beginning, and you see all of the stuff they tried, and then at some point they find themselves, right? Then the content shifts,
It shifts, yeah.
right? And you can, and then what usually happens is the character that they were trying to be for their first 800 posts, then they decide to be themselves, right?
Yeah.
And then that's
Revelation
when you will
time.
start to see they'll have this interpersonal revelation, and then you will start to see them take off, right? Because instead of saying, well, Frederick Douglass is quoted as saying blah blah blah, right? Now it's just in the conversation, like, yo, so Frederick Douglass, and like when you think about this, boom, 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 whatever, whatever. So it becomes their natural voice.
Yeah,
And
it's
you can
authentic.
see the shift, man. So I've literally gone back and looked at, because social media, I'm not good at social media personally,
Mhm.
but it is very interesting to me because it's all creatives, all people who are building these things, and you go back and you start to see them like, oh yep, try, fail, try, and they fail all the way up, and then they get to the point where you're like, all right, that's fandom there. Fandom is here now, right? And it's really cool to see that switch in somebody, and then those are the people I end up following more, just because I'm not always interested in the content, right? But I am curious how true they stay to
Yeah.
themselves through their process. And it's super dope to me because we haven't been in a time like this ever,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
we're in the age where you can actualize without a lot of gatekeepers.
with
I
no
mean,
gatekeepers.
yeah, there's like you got the
Yeah,
algorithm might be the gatekeeper,
yeah,
but
that's yeah,
but
that's
but
fair.
but
Yeah, because that'll shut you down, won't it? The algorithm,
yeah, the
it'll stop
algorithm is
all that.
well, it's
Yeah,
always playing. I'm in tech, so every day they're shifting it all the time. And they're shifting the things like just like they're out of control with how they shift
yeah,
the paradigm. I mean, they're
yeah,
changing the foundation all the time. And I'm like,
yeah,
so it's hard to play the game because they're making it harder. But the
yeah, that's
fact
fair.
is, if you're a creative and you're the type of person that, like you said, is failing upward, and you're being like a true artist, is that you're vulnerable. Like
Yeah,
a great writer, a great artist, the reason they connect is they don't seem contrived. They don't seem fake.
100%,
They seem
hundred
very
percent.
authentic because they are.
Yeah, because
you
they
know?
are like they're being the thing. Like even when I was writing Forward from Fire, man, there are several segments in that book where I'm crying. I'm sitting right here where I am now, crying real tears, where I have to get up and leave the space and be like, okay, man, like this is hard part to write, but lock in and get to it, right? And as a musician, it's the same thing. Like any creative, if you're a painter and art, whatever you're doing, there will become some times when you leave pieces of you on that thing,
Yeah.
whether or not it sells a billion copies or not, you know that you gave it your all.
Yeah,
And
you
I think
put
that's the only thing.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the only, yeah, you put your whole self into it. And then whenever somebody listens to, reads, comes into contact with that thing that you created, whenever you created it, they will feel what you felt during the creation process. They have to, because like you said, it wasn't contrived. It was just a real thing. And that's the part about the creative journey that I think is dope. And you see it with athletes also, right? Where they're given everything. And just like we, any creative, any athlete, any entrepreneur, right? Anybody who wants to do anything great in general, it requires everything of you and promises nothing in return. 100%. You have to go full on, and the outcome may not be what you want. And you have to be okay with that and be like, well, that didn't work. Let me start over. Let me try again.
yeah. That's the
That's
thing
what
about
else.
like a lot of times I run into people, podcasters, creators, whatever like if they don't hit what they thought, it's like the whole point is that as a musician, right? Yeah, I know a bunch of guys when I was like 17 and 58. Their guitar, their instrument sitting in the basement, they never picked it up because they had this idea that suddenly they were gonna hit MTV or something. They were gonna hit the
Mm.
world.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you a musician? Are you doing it because you love the music? Or are you doing it
Mhm.
to get somewhere? What I found is the people who are doing it not for the love of music, they
Yeah.
usually put the instrument down, they never pick it up.
Yeah.
The
100%.
people who do it because they actually love it, and I talk to writers, like they write whether it's going to hit or not. That they just like if this worked, if this didn't, it doesn't mean I'm not going to write tomorrow.
They do it because they do it because they love it,
Yeah,
right? They love the process of creating, and it's not for applause. They're doing it for an internal cause, right? It's that simple, right? And I think and I've shared with people, like if you do something for a bunch of years and not get paid for it, you have some giftedness there, right? Like you have some internal desire to do that thing. If that's giving speeches, practicing writing, writing music, whatever it is that you're doing, if you spend 3, 4, 5 years and you never get bored of that thing and you never make a dollar doing it, that's a very powerful part of you, right? Then it becomes a component if you actually build the skills to figure out how to monetize that at some point in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because sometimes, I mean, it ends up being where you like there are great artists that never got found because they didn't have the business savvy, right? Is a
Correct.
famous like Victorian artist is like, you know, William Blake. Everybody knows
Mhm,
Tiger, Fear for Life, Cemetery, and stuff like that.
mhm.
Songs of Innocence and Experience. He's one of the greatest Victorian poets. All his poetry was on these metal plates. He etched them into metal plates with art, and they were found in a barn after he
In a
died. In a barn,
barn or in a bar?
in a barn.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah, yeah.
he's considered one of the greatest Victorian poets, but he wasn't known in his time.
Yeah,
So
so it wasn't a lack of talent or ability, it was obscurity. Nobody knew him.
yeah, nobody knew him, but he felt that he needed to put these into a form. So he used metal.
Yeah.
All his poems are like etched in metal and acid in metal and have all this artwork. If you ever
Oh,
look
wow.
at his original poetry, there's actual artwork that goes with each poem.
Right,
And it's just because he felt like, oh, they should be timeless. Maybe it'll be found in another time. But he
right,
did it because he loved the craft, and it's like he's doing just as good as Tennyson or Wordsworth or any of those
right,
guys. He just
right,
wasn't known.
right.
So that there's not probably lots of artists right now. You see this in painting. They're like
Man,
unknown authors
oh,
from their
yeah.
time, and then you learn art history. You find these people. It's like, damn. It's
Yeah,
just
man.
if you're a marketer, that's one thing.
Right.
Marketing doesn't also like it doesn't always mean that you're the best talent. Just maybe you have the best marketer.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt, man. And that's what I said. We live in a time now. I was watching a few years ago, man. I was watching TV and Pierce Morgan was talking to, I think, what's my man from Aerosmith, Steven Tyler?
Oh, Steven Tyler, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he was on the show. I think it was Pierce Morgan. So Steven Tyler was on there talking about his love for the craft and how they would just go from bar to bar to bar to bar to bar to bigger stage, bigger stage, bigger stage, bigger stage. But throughout the whole nine, they're just practicing. They just love the craft so much that they're doing it every day. And fortunately for them, they were able to break through the noise. But you know, he was going on to say that they actually acquired the skills because you were talking about the 10,000-hour rule earlier, because they put in the actual effort to
For the
become
work.
masters at their craft. Right. And people think when you say that you're a master at your craft, that you have to be famous or make $1 billion. It's a bunch of people that have mastered the game of basketball that have never made $1 playing basketball. They
Mhm.
know how to shoot extremely well. They can pass, they can jump, they can dribble. They can do all of the things because they've played basketball for tens of thousands of hours outside. They just never made it to the NBA. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but that doesn't mean that they haven't mastered that particular thing. Because mastery is here. The other people just mastered it. They were just better. There was
yeah.
more of a talent play to it. But the actual idea of mastering a thing just out of the sheer joy of that craft is pretty cool, man. Because at some point you maybe you do make it to the point where you become a known quantity, or maybe you don't. But I think internally, you know, knowing that you put in a crazy amount of effort to enhance your skill set is a pretty cool thing. And then when you look back and you see how far you've come on the journey of where you started in your craft to where you are now and to potentially where you can be. I mean, to me, like I said, I'm a process guy. Progress is more important to me than perfection, because you're
Mhm.
never gonna become
Yeah. Well,
right.
perfection trap is like you're not, a lot of times musician, you look like a blues musician or somebody sitting in like New Orleans, like
Yeah,
somebody 70-year-old, 80-year-old, guys who've been doing that craft and of art of doing music. And they're not maybe known outside of New Orleans, right?
right,
These jazz greats they're in that scene like a Delta blues guy. They're just in the Delta. That's where they are.
Right.
They're kind of in
Yeah.
it. They do it. They love it. They don't stop. It's like it's not a young person's game to them.
Right.
They weren't trying to get to be some 17-year-old sensation. Right?
Phenom.
Yeah, phenom is like they just know the blues. Like they know jazz,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
it's just embedded in their soul. It's in their blood.
Yeah, no doubt.
And they just didn't have good A&R. So
Uh-huh.
they're sitting there, and some people go see him in this club. And it's like, great, that's awesome. And I remember saying Keith Richards is going, the guy from White Stripes. They actually started going and say, hey, we need to give these guys health care. We need to give these guys, like, get their stuff on record and actually start getting them paid.
Right.
Because like they weren't about getting paid. They're about like, oh, this is who I am.
Yeah, for sure.
And so sometimes you need to have connections with people who actually see your worth outside of yourself, and also understand your own value. And so at some point you're like, damn, I should actually monetize. I should actually try to get some business savvy. Because a lot of times artists, that's like the last thing we're thinking about, because they're so into the craft. It's like the starving artist idea. It's like, well, trying to get into business destroys my art. Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. But yeah, you have to give yourself permission to fly. Right. And I think if you're in a scenario where your wings are clipped and all of these things, man, you have to move away from that and be like, okay, I need to fly. I need to figure out how I can do the thing so I never meet potential me when I'm on my deathbed. You know what I mean? So that, and a lot of creatives, I think, who take the time to do that and aren't afraid, I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, you certainly need people who believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Right. And you need to be willing to try the stuff and see what works. Because oftentimes, like you said, when you're locked in on the thing, somebody else has to help you. Be like, okay, man, you just focus on the craft. Like, we're going to go find the things for you. You show up and you do the craft. Now, don't be an idiot and not understand the financials and things like that, right? Yeah. Become well-rounded enough so that you don't end up broke. But lock in on your craft and get people that are trustworthy, right? It's one of the things we talk about in entrepreneurship. That team is so important. Complementary skills, build that foundation early, put the people in the right spot on the bus, like Jim Collins says in his book, Good to Great, then you drive, right? But each person has their own area of giftedness, and boom, and you get to it. But that's why I love creatives, people who have to put in significant effort to acquire a level of mastery is pretty dope. Like, even that, like, it is very clear to me, like, your ability to engage people through the verbally, like in podcasts and all that, just the back and forth. This isn't your first time doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really cool when you see people who understand their craft and can bounce back and forth and keep a conversation going, move in, skate out, the whole nine. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I've always kind of used this analogy is in jazz music, there's this idea, there's no bad note, there's an opportunity, especially within fusion jazz. And the idea was, like, if you're a classical musician, you're wedded to the page. You have to read the sheet. It got to be exactly what Chopin wrote, exactly what Beethoven wrote. You have some flexibility, but you're pretty much tied into that exact note.
Yep.
But if you're a jazz musician, you're living in what we call the present moment. Like, you have your piece, you're playing that piece with Miles. But Herbie Hancock is a famous moment. Like, he was playing a piece with Miles. He hit a chord that was not part of the original composition, and Miles actually went and matched the note, even though it wasn't improvised. Yeah. And the idea, and he thought Miles was going to kill him afterward from hitting the wrong note. And Miles says, like, no, there's no problem. Like, we evolved the music. We evolved the sound. This is why you're here.
Right.
Because the music is in the moment. It's a painting. It's a brush stroke. It's like, if that brush stroke happens to be for this moment, it's all good. There's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And that's a different mindset from the mindset that wants to keep something in such a narrow space. They're not willing to evolve out of it.
You want to advance the craft.
And that's a hard place for a lot of people, because a lot of people today, they want repeatable, scalable, known kind of assembly line things. Like, I can take these 10 steps and repeat it all the time, get the same result.
every time.
But is that
Yeah.
really what you want?
No, that's why like live sports, live radio shows, anything live is cool, man, because you start to see at the high levels, right? You start to see people operating purely on instinct. Right? Like if you watch a basketball game, you see somebody like Steph Curry when they're really getting busy, KD, any of these guys, that's muscle memory at that point. That's pure instinct. Like their intelligence, their experience, and everything has now combined, and they are a fully locked and loaded machine,
They can
right?
read the
And that
moment. They read the
they can
moment.
read the moment.
They know all the plays that they've practiced.
Yeah,
They instinctively know which one to go with,
yeah,
which
yeah.
muscle memory thing to use
And what's
at
so
that
great about it,
moment.
right? You can't when they do that thing, if you tell them to do the same exact thing the next time, they can't do it
No, because 'cause they're not really
because it
thinking that way. It's like in a flow
no,
state. It's
it's in
like
yep, exactly.
it's a flow state type of effort. This is why when I get people like if you think about somebody doing a TEDx speech,
Yeah, yeah,
or the one maybe not, like going on a teleprompter.
yeah, yeah.
It's kinda like if you have a comedian and they're bombing, right?
Uh-huh.
And they
Uh-huh.
stay on the bad jokes, and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
"Well, you're gonna get pulled off stage," versus the
Uh-huh.
guy that like, "Oh, that's not working," and they change. They're
Switch
not
up. Yeah,
staying
yeah.
on the teleprompter. But you get these
Right,
guys, you don't read the room. Like, if you don't
right.
read the room, you don't read the moment. Like, how are you gonna
Yeah.
survive?
No, so yeah, you have to, man. Like it's you have to have, even if you have blues man experiences, like going back to the blues, you have to have jazz man sensibilities, right? That allow you to improvise and navigate the space and not be afraid to, if you hit a wrong chord, to be like, oh well, you go through it. Like there's the like this conversation. We didn't know what we're talking about. This whole thing is improv. We're just flowing, right?
Yeah,
There is there's no teleprompters here, right? Like it's what we ask questions, we talk back and forth, boom, boom, boom. But and oftentimes when you see the professionals do a thing and they do it well, amateurs think that it's giftedness. And it's
mhm,
like, nah, man, they've spent many, many, many hours to get to a point where they're operating on instinct so that it looks easy, right? It's just muscle memory at that point, right? That consistent effort over and over and over and over again. So by the time they see a person doing something, it sounds easy or it looks easy, but that person's been doing it for 25 years. You're just seeing it today. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
That's the problem with a lot of these things. Like, if you go and see these like 12-step program, 14-step, 10-step program, and then it's
Yeah.
like what I always point out is like, what about the 10 years plus the 10 steps, right? Like,
Yeah,
you're giving me
right.
10 steps, but there was really
Yeah,
10 years that now it's effortlessly you're going through the 10 steps, right? But it
correct.
was 10 years worth of work that you're not showing people.
Yeah,
So it's
10 years of 15 hours a day.
yeah, so how are you gonna go from 0 to
Right.
100 and get that done in 30 days?
Man,
That ain't
that's
gonna
the
happen.
bro. Phantom, that I don't have a whole lot of pet peeves, but that is certainly one of them. When people talk about a person and they only talk about the end result, it's like, yeah, man, I understand that you saw this end result, but the amount of time and effort that it took for that person to climb that mountain was a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades, right? Like they
Yeah,
said, like it's some stat that talks about Usain Bolt, how my man practiced for thousands and thousands and thousands of hours, and over his entire career, I think he's ran less than like 20 minutes professionally,
mhm.
right? But he spent thousands of hours running. To let's just say it's even an hour. I don't know how long it actually is, but say it's actually 60 minutes worth of competitive running, hundreds of tens of thousands of hours practicing to run for an hour. It's crazy,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like
the game.
that's the game, right? And then what's even wilder to me about that is you put in all of that effort and you still don't know the outcome. He happened to win, but what about all those other people who got second, third, fourth, and fifth? They
Yeah,
put in just as much effort
it's
and they didn't
always
win.
yeah, I mean, that's the game because
Right.
that's the people don't understand is, like, every overnight sensation's got, like, probably 10, 20 years worth of work, right? Everybody
Yeah,
like,
or longer.
longer.
Yeah.
Like, when Hendrix showed up, people in England. He showed up. He showed up at like what, 67, 66. He
Okay.
had been playing with Little Richard and the Isley Brothers on the like Chitlin circuit. Nobody knew who he was. He was a sideman.
Yeah,
He'd been playing
interesting.
like 5 years before he was found, right? And he was playing crazy, sleeping with his guitar, playing all the time, right?
Yeah.
Just hundreds of hours of playing, thousands of
Yeah,
hours of
no.
playing. And suddenly Mick Jagger and Keith Richards and Paul McCartney all see him in England, and suddenly,
Man.
oh, he's overnight. It wasn't overnight.
No.
It was all that work he did up to the point that they saw him.
Yeah, like there's no such thing as an overnight success, right? I mean, well, it used to not be that. Now with social media, YouTube, and those type of things, you do see people jump really quickly, just because, like you said, the algorithm. And so Steven Tyler was talking about that too, where he was like, the challenge becomes it's a sustainability play, right? If you get famous too fast, or you take the elevator to the top, it's harder to sustain that because the skill
You didn't build it
hasn't
up.
come along.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
the
lot of these overnight,
foundation's not
like
there.
one-hit wonders, like if
Yeah.
you're just kind of, internet wonder. The
Uh-huh.
internet wonder is kind of doing themselves a bad service, because if you didn't go like in the 70s and the 80s, like you're playing at the pizza shop, you're playing at the
Yeah.
bar, right? You're
Right.
playing at the gym, you're
Yeah.
playing in somebody's basement, you're doing parties, you're doing whatever. You're doing
Yeah.
all these shows, learning how to make mistakes.
Right.
And suddenly you blow up and you get 1 million views. And
Uh-huh.
maybe it's like what? It's your 10th
Yeah.
post.
Right.
Versus like in a band that was on the road for 2 years. What's going to happen when you go on the road?
Yeah.
How are you going to handle it?
No, man, you have to be able to build
any way to handle it.
Yeah, you got to be built for that too, man. Like when you're creative, you have to be built for the criticism, built for the imposter syndrome, built for being scared. And through all of that, you have to release the work anyway, right? You have to release the work anyway, because the worst feeling is not to release the work, right?
Yep.
Where it's sitting there, and it's like, and even though all of Prince, and like you were talking about Prince, and the music was never published, he did it. It wasn't inside of him. The work was there. It wasn't published to the masses, but the work was there, and so he released the work. He got it out of him, and that's the part where when I think of writing a book or building a business or getting to a space where you're trying to get your body better physically, going to the gym and what have you, it requires a lot of effort. It requires a lot of discipline, and that muscle memory is, I think, what's cool when you hit that adversity, right?
Yeah.
Because like the people who just take the elevator to the top and they haven't built the foundation,
no muscle memory
of skills, it's no muscle memory. Like, so those of us who've taken the stairs, right, when you hit adversity along the way, you have this foundation there, and the problem solving, like, it immediately kicks into place. He's like, oh, I've seen this before. Like, I know what to do here. But if you take the elevator straight to the top and something goes wrong, you have no idea how to solve that problem.
You don't have the ability to what we got. You don't have the grace. You don't have the recovery. You don't know how to recover, right? So, like, the great thing with the practice is you learn, oh, what happens if I miss this? What's the next step? What's the next thing? Like, what if I skip a beat? Do you look like a deer in the headlights? Or do you make it so nobody even knew you made a mistake? Like the great art musicians, is like when they make a mistake, like they'll be talking about it after the show, and the fans won't know anything about it. And when the journalist asked them, like, "Oh yeah, I screwed that thing up royally, but like we recovered." But for myself, I didn't like it. Right, I didn't like what I did. I'm going to probably put some time in. But I am a professional enough that nobody even knew I made a mistake. I mean, the band knows, but like nobody else knows, and that's how you get to be that expert, that expertise.
Right. Like the consumer didn't know that the artist made the mistake.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's cool, man. Like, I feel the same way when I go and listen to people do speeches or give lectures, like the really engaging ones. Man, you don't know if they've messed up or not. They may walk off that stage and be infuriated with themselves, right? But the crowd is like, yo, that was the dopest talk. Like, he did that, right? Super main character energy. And meanwhile, the person's in the back like, oh my gosh, that was one of the worst talks. ever. But because they have such a high standard, they know what they can do. But you said they recovered and they improvised on the spot to still be able to move and glide with the talk, just like when somebody is playing an instrument. But that only happens when you've put in
Yeah, you got to
mega
put the
work.
time. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
mega
got to
work.
understand like what's necessary because like sometimes you have your main focus, your main kind of core skill set,
Right.
and then you have to have like complementary skill sets, right?
Hmm.
Or you have to have know like what do I know I can't do versus the person like you
Correct.
run into it like I've been in a studio with the person that thinks like they're running the whole show, right? You get this
Yeah.
writer that's like they're overwhelming. Like there's a whole band in there. There's a bass player knows what he's doing, but the guitar player is going to tell the bass player what the bass notes should be. I'm like, really? Right?
Uh-huh.
But they're going to go and dictate it. So the bass player is going to
Right.
be like, okay, this session's not going to be fun
Right.
because this guy's not
Because
going
there's
to,
no autonomy.
he's not going to let me do anything. Like
Right.
everything has to be what he says. And
Yeah.
and then there's a missed opportunity because what I find when people actually allow people to show their expertise and not be trying to like micromanaging everything,
Right.
then you end up with a better overall effort versus like the guy who is just totally dictating everything. I said, well, you get what's in your head, but
Right.
nobody else is actually getting into your head versus the guy who can share his head
Yeah.
with
And then
everybody.
the product is worse, right? Because if now going back to your IT scenario, right? If you have a scrum master or a tech lead that's just dictating what goes on. You have all of these architects and developers and data scientists and data engineers that have their own ideas too. Now, granted, you can't have everybody doing something separate,
Yeah,
but you should certainly listen to what they're saying and incorporate that into the bigger project. So now when you deploy that thing to prod, right now people are like, yo, this is a dope product
yeah,
because it's a combination
it's everything.
of expertise from people. Like you talk about, everybody has complementary skills. And I've talked about this ad infinitum when it comes to entrepreneurship and building a team of rock stars, right? You have that complementary skill set that you mesh together and now you run. Right. But if everything is like, well, Phantom is only Phantom said, Phantom said, Phantom said, Phantom said, right? At some point, people just they're not even going to be willing to
They're not going
offer
to
anything.
participate.
They're gonna
Yeah,
be
what
like,
if you
yeah, man,
got like a UI expert, like the best UI
right,
guy in the world, and
right,
then this VP comes in, doesn't know
exactly,
user experience from anything,
at all,
right?
right,
And he decides that he wants it this way.
right,
But the UI guy has actually done studies.
uh-huh,
It's got evidence that
right,
this is a more user-friendly design.
mm-hmm,
This is going to keep somebody on the web page. This is going to
yep,
keep somebody in the product. More likely they're going to use it. More
yep,
likely we're going to get paid.
for
Versus
sure,
this guy is top down all day.
yeah, yeah,
He thinks it's his idea. He has no evidence that it works. No
yeah, yeah,
evidence anybody's going to like it. But he's going
right,
to top down it and say, "I'm the VP.
right,
Do it." And you're okay. Okay.
yeah,
I'm probably not going to be in that company that long. I'll probably be gone.
right, and yeah, or then the team will build this inferior product and push it, and then there's no users. Now you spent all this money. Now you have to do refactors, rewrites, the whole thing, change the information architecture, the whole nine, right? All because somebody didn't allow people to use their skill set in a complementary way to create something productive and valuable. And we see it in every facet of life, man, from creatives to entrepreneurship to project-based work. It's all the same, right? And I think that's why I think it's really important for people to get into spaces where they can fly. And that
Yeah,
doesn't mean everybody has to be a boss, right? It just means you need to be in a space where what you bring to the table is valuable.
it's appreciated. Like
It's
if
yeah,
you're in an
yeah,
organization, they're like an entrepreneurial spirit, like a startup.
uh-huh,
I've been in like Fortune 500 kind of IT situations
yeah,
that
yeah,
have not been ideal. Maybe the benefits were ideal.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was very secure,
right.
but
But no creativity,
from a like, am I happy? No, I wasn't
mhm,
happy. I
right?
actually went with the startup where it was more pressure, but
Hmm.
the pressure was okay. More working hours, but that was
Yeah,
okay because I'm actually in the whiteboard session in the jazz session, and I'm putting stuff on the board, and they're saying, "Yeah." Yeah, they're
And you're
saying no,
building,
but
you're
they're letting me
creating.
do it. They're letting
Yeah,
everybody's talking, and we're all
right.
contributing. Everybody in the team, nobody's scared to raise their hand. Everybody's
For sure. Yeah, yeah.
saying something, and the feedback is great. So it's
Right.
like when you have the perfect team, like if you have a sports team, like that
Yeah,
team, and everybody's playing their role, and it just
exactly.
worked like a clock. And you're like, yeah, that team is great. If somebody gets knocked out of that team, then they're like, oh, how are we gonna get that back? Right?
Yeah, man. And yeah, and it's yeah. So when you think about the creative journey, the entrepreneurial journey, the corporate journey, the building the ladder, the climbing a ladder, all of the stuff that you just talked about, man, I think is perfectly true because it's the you have to understand the talent that people have and leverage it. And people really want to feel appreciated. They want to feel wanted. And as creative, this one as I'm listening to you talk and I've talked with other folks who create, you want the reader, the consumer of whatever you create to feel that positive energy. You want them to feel the sadness. You want them to watch the arc and know that they themselves can be that also.
Yeah,
Right. And you can only do that if you're given the freedom, the liberty, the opportunity to spread your wings and go. Right. And so that's the part, man, when you're talking about, you know, creating and understanding the systems that you put into place, being able to sit down and just focus. And even if you miss a note or you read a paragraph and you're like, something's not right here. You don't get up from the desk and be like, forget it. No, you sit here and you be like, let me try this. Nope. Let me try this. Nope. Then you do it the 13th time. You be like, boom, that's the
that's it.
paragraph. Okay, now I can move on.
Yeah.
Right.
It's iterative
So
development. It's like that iteration. It's like you have to put the work in. It's like my grandpa, he's like a coal miner. He's like, you had to show up at work, right? You got to
mhm,
do the work, right? And
mhm.
when he got to such, everybody in the coal mine, they were electricians, they were plumbers, they were firefighters. They learned
Yeah, yeah,
everything. In
yeah, yeah.
order to be there, you couldn't just say, "Well, I'm only going to use this. I'm only going to use the pickaxe." You had to learn everything,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Or you might not
Y-
survive, right?
Yeah, you
So you
need
have
to
to be able
have a
to do.
diversified skill set.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's like you
yeah.
just get, "Well, I'm just gonna show up and I'm only gonna do this."
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
No,
then
and
you
it's
might not
the
make it.
yeah, and it's it's interesting, man, when we talk about, when I was looking at your email, it was like the discipline factor and how do creatives go through, you know, having that purpose is dope too. Like when there's this fire on the inside of you, like you're moving towards a thing, it makes everything else feel easier. The discipline of getting up, if I know I have a cycling race, right? I have a purpose behind this thing. So the discipline of riding a bike, like as soon as we finish this call, I'm gonna go and ride my bike for 2.5 hours, right?
Yeah,
It's the but that's not hard to me. That
no,
is
it's not
fun.
hard.
That
It's fun.
that discipline. No, the workout is going to be ridiculously hard,
Mhm.
but it's enjoyable to me because I understand that the discipline, the boredom that goes into just pedaling over and over and over again, that I have a purpose, so it makes the discipline part easier. You know what I mean? Like I can sit there and say, yeah, I know this is hard, man. I know I'm doing just pedaling over and over and over again. Yeah, I know I've written this paragraph 13 times and it's not hitting, but I understand the bigger picture of saying, hey man, I'm going to release this work at some point, and it doesn't feel like suffering, right? It
No,
feels like it feels fun in the sense of that this thing that's inside of you is going to come out at some point in a positive and powerful way, regardless of who reads it, who sees it. It's not in you anymore, right? And at
yeah.
some point, like you said, it could be 100 years from now, people will pick up this piece of music and be like, yo, who is Phantom?
What was this? Yeah, it's like
Yeah, what is this?
well, it's like when you put the work, you think about a dancer doing all
Mhm.
their prep they have to do to be a dancer, right?
A
And nobody
lot.
sees it. Nobody
No.
sees all the work they got to do, all the like a ballerina, like the level they have to put in. And
Yeah,
you're
for
like,
sure.
damn, that's a lot of work. And even I love the bike too. I'm a mountain biker,
Oh,
right? And
nice.
you put a lot of spinning in to be able to get up that hill.
Yeah.
And the thing about mountain biking is like you climb that hill and then you come down the creek bed and you
Uh-huh.
have to be able to recovered from climbing the hill, right? To be able to hold on coming down the creek bed.
Yeah, doing all of this the
So
whole
if
time.
you don't learn how to balance off your physical shape, that if you get to the top of that hill and you're so worn out that you
Yeah,
can't
buddy.
hold on coming down, you don't have the dexterity to know what to do coming down.
Rap City.
Yeah, so you have that's what I love about the dichotomy of it is like you have to put the discipline to get up the hill and then discipline to come down the hill.
Yeah, and all of that, all of the thing that you just said is hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of hours of riding your bike when nobody sees you.
Yep.
Right? Just practicing and doing that. And it's like we hear these stories all the time of people wondering how John Doe Jane Doe got there, especially the elites. Like, man, figure out a way to go and spend a week with them. You don't have to do their workout, but just watch how they function. Like they live almost like a religiously obsessive life. They don't do anything else other than the thing that they want to do. They eliminate everything else, right? They're not talking on the phone. I was listening to what's my man's name that's about to fight today? Chris Eubank and Ben. So I was listening to them talking, like when they go into a scenario, and I was listening to Shannon Sharp and Paul Pierce talk too, and they're like, when they're getting ready to go into like a championship game or week, no distractions, no phone calls, no text messages, no meetings, no anything. And it's that level of focus that's required to do that thing can only manifest itself if you understand your system, you've put in the work, you've tried and you've failed, and you failed a lot. But as you and I love the phrase fail upward that we use in the tech space, so I get that. But it applies to life also, right? And it's that part of putting yourself in a situation where you may not win, but you've put in the effort to be there or thereabouts, right? You can be certainly competitive in the competition, whatever that competition may be. That could be in the boardroom, that could be writing music, that could be writing a book, that could be whatever it is. But you have to put in the effort from a knowledge, skill acquisition perspective to be able to direct that knowledge in a way that offers value to yourself or to somebody else, man. So I agree with all of the stuff that you're saying, but it's not fancy, right? People want a magic bullet.
Yeah.
It's not fancy, man. It's reps and sweat. It's blocking and tackling. It's getting up every day, going pedaling a mile. Like, that's it. Right. So there is no, it's just work. It's just focus.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think it's also like noise, because like today we've got so much noise. And what I find with a lot of people is like, you really have to figure out how to get rid of the noise and to totally focus. Like if you're a musician and you're in the studio, like you should turn off your cell phone, right? You should turn off your watch, right? Turn off no TV, no radio, no getting pinged. Because like if you're trying to put something down, you can't be distracted. Even before you start, you probably should do a little breathing exercise and clear your head. Right?
Yeah, like you to produce well.
Yeah.
Right? Set your environment up to produce well, man. I'm with you. Like when I'm upstairs, if I'm working out, or like I'll take my phone with me if I'm on the road, but if I'm upstairs doing an indoor workout, my phone's nowhere near me. Because for what? Right? Because now I have a segment, and what happens if the phone rings and now I miss the segment, and now your race is that Saturday, and you're like, oh, I didn't hit that workout the right way. Now you get third place and you pissed off at yourself.
Yeah, you gotta learn how to
like eliminate noise, and like that. Going back to your word, the focus word, right? I think it certainly is a muscle, right? Like if you don't use it, it goes away. Like I can sit at this computer, man, and write for hours, but it's only because, or I can sit and take this book and start at 9 o'clock in the morning and read, or 6 o'clock in the morning and read till 9 straight and not move. But that's not because it's not because I have a weird brain. It's just because, or an abnormal desire to just read. because I've practiced for so long. Like I've practiced focus. It's like you don't have if you don't practice focus, I think it's a muscle that you lose. I think it atrophies really quickly. And so people should take the time. And I do this with my son too, my middle boy, right? What I've done with him is he's 10. So when he first started reading, he'd be like, all right, man, read 5 minutes, then 8, then 10, then 12. Then over the last year, it's been like, all right, 25, 28, 32, 36, 38, 40. So now when he comes home, he just sits down, boom. He doesn't move. He just sits and reads this thing. And the reason, and I don't care about the book per se, I care about the fact that he is flexing that focus muscle and that it's not atrophying. So he can sit there and lock in on something because it's going to pay dividends. It's super important because it's going to pay dividends down the road when he has to actually focus to solve a problem. Right. So many people get bothered with the phone and ping this notification there.
We're at an age where attention span is such a critical thing. And like as an artist, we find that people won't stay in a book. I mean, books used to be 200,000, 300,000 words. Now you have to do 55,000, 60,000 words, 30,000 words.
My Forged from Fire, 48.5.
Yeah, that's where you have to bring it down because people can't.
You have to.
People don't stay in the books.
No, sir. And I was very aware of that, even writing like chapters. And I even find myself, if I'm reading a book, bro, and the chapter is 25 pages, you're like, oh my gosh, that's a long chapter. Right. And then you're like, so even as a writer, I'm like, yo, man, let's try to keep these chapters between 10 and 15 pages because now the reader can push through, boom, boom, boom. But if you have a 40-page chapter, man, it's going to take 800 years to read that book. Yeah. Right. And I'm with you. Like, even when I'm looking on social media and you're looking at the reels and things, 6-7 minutes, that's about the most people are going to sit there. And that's probably too long.
Yeah. I mean, it's people like we got 30 seconds to keep somebody in a song, 15, 30 seconds. Right.
Yeah, no doubt.
As a musician. And we're like, and I'm a child of the 70s. And a lot of our songs, back then, they don't kick into like 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah, because it has the whole interlude before.
Yeah, so if you can only stay 30 seconds, you're missing the whole damn thing. It's like you don't even stay in it long enough to understand there's timing changes, there's key changes, there's rhythm changes. Doubt. Like you didn't even know. Like
no, and I'm an 80s baby, so I'm with you. It's like sometimes you listen to some of these songs, and like you said, the first 2 minutes, it's just somebody talking, and you're like, man, just get to the song. But now those songs don't even, that type of music doesn't even exist anymore. Because if somebody turns on a song in the first, like you said, 30 seconds, somebody's just talking,
they're gonna click it off. I can listen to Barry Wood, then I can listen to the Ohio Players. Are they gonna listen to that intro where he's talking? They're even gonna get past the first 5 words. It's like, well, where's the song?
They're like bored. Next, yeah. So it's this book that I read, man. It's a phenomenal book. It's called Stolen Focus. And and he talks about all of this. And I think it's a national security crisis, man. Our kids are getting crushed. Right. That's why I said for my 10-year-old, it's so important for him to just be able to sit there and read for 40 minutes. Right. And next summer, as we get into the spring, I'm jumping that up to 45 minutes because ultimately I'm gonna get it to an hour. But it's like I'm doing it the same way when we lift weights or ride a bike. We're using the progression model, little bit. And I think that works in life too. And so I'll talk to bro, and he has the challenge with focus. And I'm like, all right, do 10 minutes today. Put your phone away. Now do 15 minutes. Now do next thing you know, you're going to be able to have an hour-long conversation without looking at your phone one time. Right. Yeah. When we first started talking, I was like, you put your phone up. Cool. You ain't seen me looking around. I haven't seen you looking around like, oh, is that a notification? Like, oh, let me.
No, I mean, people, it's really critically important because like critical thinking and, like if I'm in IT, software, right? It's like we have to solve problems. And if we can't sit there and actually think it out, like you actually use a Socratic method or logical thinking, critical thinking is like, what is the problem? What is the business problem? Are we looking at something like it's a symptom of the problem? What's the root cause analysis? Well, you have to think. And thinking something that's hard in like 15 seconds.
And that's why so few people actually think because it's a hard thing to do. right?
Yeah.
To actually just sit there and be like, okay, so what's the problem? Okay, cool. Now let's generate some options. Which one of these makes the most sense? Okay, let's try that. That didn't work. Okay, so where was that an anomaly, or was that actually a or not? Okay, that was an anomaly. All right, let's try it again. Okay, boom. All right, now we have that. That could be 4 hours.
Yeah, I mean,
That could
I
be
mean, I
four
do a
hours.
lot of QA,
Oh
quality
yeah,
assurance off of
yeah,
like
for sure.
unit testing of like new tech, and
Uh-huh.
we have to really stress test stuff. And we're actually
Yeah,
like, is this a symptom of the problem? Like, where is this? Is this in the foundational structure of the system,
yeah,
or is
yeah,
this
no
because
doubt.
of some ancillary thing? And you have to
Mhm,
really look at it. And it's like a lot of times today, like when we get some people that all they've done is SAT type of testing
mhm.
versus open book or oral
Yeah.
exam test. I came out of a college
Uh-huh.
where I had oral exams and blue
Yeah.
books. We
Yeah.
get some of these kids
Oh
coming
wow.
out, we bring them into the organization and they had
Yep.
SAT type test, and
Right.
we try to ask them to do some critical thinking, and they're like, is it A, B, C, D? No, tell me what it is in your own words.
Right. Right. Right.
And they're
Yeah. So
like,
now it's the
what?
yeah. It's the yeah, man. I think that's really important. I teach at a university out here too as an adjunct every so often, man. And I really emphasize the critical thinking part. Like it's okay if you get the answer wrong. Generate options and be like, which one of these makes the most sense? And then you make a decision, right? Because the decision you make is not irreversible. The only thing's irreversible is death, right?
Yeah,
Everything else we can bounce back from that.
yeah,
And it's
definitely.
the think through the process, understand the problem, think through options, then you decide, right? But you can only do that if you're focused enough to actually understand what's going on. And this isn't a knock against people. I just think the world is just changing. But when you the way we grow up and the way I'm, teaching my children is to be focused, build that muscle, right? Build the foundation. If you want to achieve high level or elite performance in a particular thing, take the stairs.
Yeah.
Take the stairs, right? Because taking the elevator sounds cool until you hit a problem.
Yeah,
Then you have
I
no
wish you took
idea
the
what to
stairs.
do. You're going to wish you took the stairs, right? Because what's going to happen is while you're unceremoniously coming down, somebody who the tortoise and the hare story, they're
You're chugging, yeah, you're gonna get it.
yeah, yeah, and they're going to be gone, right? So that's the elements of creativity and human performance, right? Like, which I'm a huge fan of human performance, right? Like to put yourself in a situation where discipline, consistency, persistence, all of the necessary things that one has to do, focus, building that muscle. Huge fan of it because I think those are the people who do well in their chosen craft, the ones who take the time to learn it and not be afraid to mess up, and you take the inputs from the failures to ultimately get to where you go.
Yeah, and then with AI, I mean, I'm a tech and we use
Yeah.
AI, but I've always kind of tell people like I'm from the Dewey Decimal, go to the library,
Uh-huh.
go
Yeah.
go actually do the research.
Find the book. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and now we get these people like, okay, well, I went on ChatGPT and did it was like, well, can you tell me the source behind
Mhm.
like can you give me the footnote? Can you give me the end note? Like where did you get this from?
Yeah.
How do you know that that's actually not a hallucination that the AI got out of the machine library? Did you
Yeah.
actually go and look for the source?
Yeah.
Did you do the work? And I understand it takes time to go and actually find that document to
For
find.
sure. Like the
Yeah,
comparative analysis, the comparative and corroborative nature of learning, like that's how we were taught in school also. Like you corroborate what you hear, you compare it to other things, then you generate your own ideas, right? And I
yeah,
think that's really important for people as you create, as you build, as you grow, to come up with your own thought process and be able to solve those problems. And yeah, you can leverage the technologies, but you should certainly be able to articulate why you think what you think, not just what was told to you, right?
yeah, yeah. If you just all you do is just you just do prompt engineering, that's cool. Maybe
Mhm.
you're a very good prompt engineer, but
Yeah.
can you actually get that on your own?
Is that
Like,
a term now? Prompt
yeah,
engineering?
prompt engineering is like a um is a way of asking AI,
Yeah, to get you
it
what you need. Yeah.
get you
I
need,
didn't
and
know that was
there's
a real term though. Yeah.
yeah, well, I'm into tech. I actually
Yeah.
got certified under some of this stuff, but
Yeah, I
in
know
order
that.
to do like AI correctly,
Mhm.
you have to ask it questions in a cascading way.
Yeah.
And the cascade, you start off at 50,000 foot, and then you go
Mhm. And
down
then
more detail. You keep on asking questions, and it keeps on narrowing till
yeah,
you
so
get
it,
to a very narrow focus where you're more likely that the answer is not hallucination; it's actually correct.
yeah, that's fair.
Most people do the 50,000 foot level,
Yeah.
and it gives you an answer immediately, and you go with it
Yeah, yeah.
rather than actually doing the engineering to actually confirm that it
Yeah.
actually is correct.
Yeah, man. It's but yeah, no, I mean, understanding your craft, putting in the effort to make sure that people can get to where they want to go. I think that's the nature of the beast of playing whatever game that you want to play at a high level, you know, and then people who play it at an elite level, I think are even
Yeah,
more different, right?
whole different
Yeah,
world,
like
and you can look at 'em at the mountaintop, or you can say,
right,
"Well, you know what? I
yeah,
could do some work and try to, like, climb that mountain myself. It's not impossible." Like, and
right,
if I put some discipline in, I
for
can
sure.
at least be parallel to the mountain and
Yeah,
maybe not get to the top, but I can do a little bit of work, you know?
yeah, yeah. And like you said, and even if you don't get to the top of that mountain, you are way better off than the baby mountain that you initially thought about climbing, right?
Yeah.
And that's just having the willingness to try, doing it scared, not being afraid. So those are that type of stuff I think is cool, man. When people go through the journey of personal development, self-investment, trying to figure out where they want to go.
Mhm.
And like I said, man, I almost borderline consider myself a human performance architect, right? Because I've lived in
Yeah.
I'm not good at a whole bunch of stuff. I'm only really good at like two or three things. But like I went all in
Yeah,
on those
it's good
things.
to know where you are. It's like to do
Yeah,
that kinda looking glass self-analysis to, like,
yeah,
know your limitations and then
yeah,
know what you need, what you don't know.
yeah.
Because
Like I'm
there's
a
a lot of people
strength-based guy.
going around on the net that say they know everything and they don't know what they don't know.
No, yeah, yeah, no, and I'm not on that. Like I know I'm an idiot, so it's I'm cool with it, right? Like there's the like I'm an idiot in most things, and there's a couple things I'm really good at, and I focus on the things where I'm operating in my area of giftedness, and I'm perfectly fine by that. I don't need to know everything. I don't want to know everything, right? But
Mhm.
the couple three things that I'm good at, I'm going to lock in on those, right? So when I'm talking to people, I can offer a roadmap. And as like you said with the tech, right? Instead of offering the 50,000 foot level, now we can vector in and actually create a roadmap for you. When you think of your critical path, when you're deploying something to prod, I can walk you through that path
Mhm.
very clearly to, and it's only a path, it's not the path, right?
Yeah,
So
there's
because I don't
multiple
talk
paths, yeah.
dogmatically, right? There are multiple paths, right? But I'm not going to give you abstract thinking because I haven't actually done the thing.
Mhm.
My willingness and my desire to offer value is only in a few areas, right? And I also gravitate to people who have acquired knowledge, maybe not in like a polymath way, but
Mhm.
they have still deep knowledge in a few areas. So if you have questions, if you run into a roadblock, their decision making model, they tap in with you right there to be like, oh, here's the challenge. Here are some things for you to consider. Boom, boom, boom. This, that, and the third. They don't overwhoop with you, right? But they make sure that they give you thoughtful counsel to help you get to where you want to go. Those are the people I like, and I try to emulate and embody that as it relates to being willing to share words of wisdom, discernment, or whatever with somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's super important, and, we kinda gone over a little bit, but we're having such a good conversation, I didn't really
Yeah, yeah.
clock it, but I wanna let people know about the QR link again. That QR link will go right to your Amazon
Hmm.
Forged, Fire
Yep.
Charles Thomas, Jr., that
Hmm.
link you see on the screen. If you
Yep.
scan that with your phone, that'll go right to it, and that will go right to your latest book, right?
Yep. And well, Forged from Fire. Yes, sir.
And so, we do encourage people to check that out. If you don't wanna use the QR code, the Amazon link is there. We got your Instagram link as well. Those are
Hmm.
fully clickable within the podcast description. We've been live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Kick. We will be on all the other podcast platforms by the end of the day tomorrow, where you can listen to or watch it. We'll send a landing page to folks that follow you. And I want to thank you again for being on the show today.
Yeah, man, Phantom, I appreciate you taking the time. Yeah, I wasn't even paying attention to the clock either. So appreciate you taking the time to chat, man, and offer me the opportunity to come on your platform and share messages of creativity and discipline and consistency and all of the things that you and I do, and the millions and billions of people across the world that are similar in thought. Right. So thank you for the opportunity, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day on Saturday today. Have a good day, weekend with your family.
All right, you too, man. Cheers.
Thank you.